It's time for the Las Vegas Sportsline, brought to you by CG Technology Sportsbook.
Money won is twice as sweet as money earned.
Presented by WagerTalk.com.
All right, hi everybody. Welcome to the wet Thursday edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline. Ew, boy, what a nasty, nasty day this is. It's just nasty. Well, we're here. We're dry inside. Glad for that anyway. And we'll get to it. Ralph Michaels is here. I'm Dave Cokin. Ari Platinum's at the controls. Jason Simbal will join us from CG Sportsbooks in a little bit. Carmin Bianco later on to talk some NHL. Soccer as well. Ralph, how are you?
Doing good. When it rains, I have to leave my house an hour early because you never know how long it's going to take me to get to the other side of town, the way people drive in Vegas. It's like a blizzard in other cities.
Yeah, it really has. Okay, I'm going through notes from our two guests today, and I can't find my show rundown because on the phone it does some funny stuff here. Now I'm set. Okay, sorry about the amateurish start to the show. We'll be more professional the rest of the way. So we have Wednesday statements that were made last night. Let's talk about some of them. Villanova. I'm making a lot of statements lately. Look, Providence is a team that's usually a thorn in their side. Gives them a difficult game. They did for a while last night, and then Villanova just said, get out of here in the second half. I was impressed.
Yeah, Villanova coming off the loss to Marquette. Yep. They did what they had to do, but being at home, to me, that doesn't jump out a statement. You're the best team in the conference, and you took care of business. At least they didn't allow one loss to cost them two.
How about Central Florida? A team that's kind of flying under the radar in a league that I think is better than people think.
Yeah,
that league has got some quality teams. Houston's a really good team. Cincinnati's a quality team. Central Florida's a quality team. Teams like Temple are not bad. That's a conference that I would not be shocked if you get a couple of teams that might stick around past the first weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I mean, UCF beating South Florida at home is one thing. They're going to have to at least, I think for them to get there, I think they're in the mid-40s right now.
Yeah.
Between the two Cincinnati and Houston games, they're going to have to win 2 out of 3.
Yes.
Or win everything else and maybe win one of those 3.
Let me take it to the other side of the argument. Are they perhaps underachieving considering their roster? And, if they are, there's a lot of people going to look at it. If they miss the tournament, a lot of people are going to point at Johnny Dawkins and say, you're still not very good at this. Because he's not considered to be a great coach.
17-9 last year. They lost 3 of their last 4, and then get knocked out in the second round in the tournament to be sitting at home. So they have the talent. They have the defensive prowess to win this. They would be a solid team. But right now, no bad losses. Your worst loss of the year was to Florida Atlantic in game number 2.
And they had a 20-point lead in that game. Yeah. But that's a bad loss.
It is a bad loss, but it was game 2.
Yep.
And, you're 18-5, you're 8-3 in conference play. I think there right now, I'd put them on like one of the first 4 or 5 out.
Definitely a bubble team. They cannot afford a bad loss.
They cannot. Yeah, they have to beat everyone they can and pull one upset down the road.
NC State got a really important win for them last night. They just haven't beaten anybody good. Their 5 previous ACC wins were against teams with a combined 12-32 record in the conference. No team, not a single win against the winning team, at least winning at the time that they played them. Clemson was their best win. They played a near-perfect second half last night against Syracuse. I mean, they shot like 70%, made their free throws. I mean, they were really good in the second half. I don't think they're in yet, but that really helped.
Well, you're looking at their schedule. I mean, you have a loss at Duke, and you probably have a loss at Florida State. If they win the rest of their games, they're 22-9. I think, again, they're on the bubble. If they go 22-9 and have those 2 losses, I think that's enough to get them in just because of the strength of the ACC this year.
Yep.
You have those top 4 teams that could be 1 or 2 seeds. It puts a different perspective on things.
Certainly an important win for them last night, and you can say the same for Ole Miss as they go into Auburn and sweep the Tigers because they'd beaten them earlier. That's impressive. Mississippi has gotten out of their slump. They were playing tremendous basketball. overachieving in spectacular fashion for a team that was consensus to finish at the bottom in the SEC this year. I got to tell you, I think they're, unless they fall apart, they're going to make the tournament.
I mean, if you looked at, yes, Kermit Davis left the cupboard bare at Middle Tennessee State. But
and it got barer after he left because 3 guys who were going to be on this year's team, they left.
So if you look at what happened the year after he left and what he did with this Mississippi team, I think he's the coach of the year, no question, comparing those situations. Wins at Mississippi State and wins at Auburn, I think clearly put them, they're in that same range as some other teams as NC State, but I think that puts them in having those 2 huge road wins as long as they win 6 of their last 8 games coming out.
And a game that was good for me last night, and it was good for them. It wasn't really the statement on Colorado's part, but
it was the outlier game on Arizona State beating Washington.
This is the end for Arizona State.
Yeah.
I thought Arizona State had to sweep this series this weekend at Utah, at Colorado. I actually got the order backwards. At Colorado, at Utah, to enhance their chances of maybe getting an at-large and maybe getting a second team from the Pac-12 unless Washington happens to lose the conference tournament. Yeah, and I don't think they can now.
Ken Pom has them at 64, and there's no way. No. I mean, especially now, the home loss to Washington State was brutal.
It was terrible. But they kind of balanced that off a little bit.
With the win against Washington.
But you really had to get hot down the stretch. They got bet yesterday, too, and I just disagreed with that kind of vehemently.
Well, you've been pretty vocal about that. Those steam moves.
They stink. They stink.
It's not what they used to be because casinos are just moving things on air now.
That's right.
It's not like the old days where money moved. One casino moves and all of a sudden the whole world moves. That's not steam.
No, they're not true wise guy moves, but people are misled into thinking they are by some of these sites out there. So, the wise guys.
They watch the screen, it goes right across the board, and they think that's all that money. It's not. And I think, Arizona State, that was just an outlier game against Washington. They shot 64%, like 55% from three-point land. That was their one great game. I think they're done. You're finishing the season on the road at Oregon, Oregon State, Arizona. I mean, to me, they would have to win out. If they win out, they're going to be at 22 wins, and that would be the cusp. And I don't think there's any chance they can win out.
And you know what? There's one other thing that would work against them is the fact that they probably got gifted an at-large last year, the last of the at-larges, and then lost in the play-in game. Yeah. And I don't think they get another chance. So unless Arizona State wins the Pac-12 tournament, welcome to the NIT. Time for us to take a look. And by the way, we've got a lot of Leafs Golden Knights coverage later in the show. We're going to talk about that game with Carmin Bianco. We're going to talk about it in our marquee matchup. So we're not including it right now, but we'll talk about it with Jason Simbal as well. It is, however, time for our Thursday 4 at 4.
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
Put them fours up. Put the fours up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sportsline's 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
And it's brought to you by MJ Christensen, and time is running out. And I mean literally running out, because if you haven't done what you're supposed to do for Valentine's Day, you better hustle, okay? It's only a few hours left.
Leave work early right now.
Well, yeah, really. Just get over to Boca Park now, and they'll take care of you, okay? And you'll be in the good graces of the one that matters most to you on Valentine's Day. MJ Christensen at Boca Park. And by the way, the sale prices are still in effect. You're talking 30 to 70% off several items, quality select items throughout the store. Visit MJ Christensen right now. Make this a wonderful Valentine's Day for that special someone in your life. Illinois and Penn State.
And Ohio
State. Matching up first. Buckeyes, I guess they're in the mix to some extent. I don't think they're an NCAA tournament team, but one thing they've got to do is they got to get hot down the stretch. And one of the teams they have to make sure and beat is Illinois. They met earlier this year. Ohio State, a 10-point winner. It was on a kind of a neutral court. It was not really a home game for Illinois. The Fighting Illini have shown some spunk lately, but they have been a really bad road team.
Yep, they're 3 straight wins all at home.
Right.
And it was an impressive win against Michigan. But you look at Ohio State. Yes, they've won 4 of their last 5, including 3 straight. Those wins are against Nebraska, Rutgers, Penn State, Indiana, the bottom teams of the conference. They are not a good shooting team.
No.
I like the way the Illinois team, we talked about Illinois early in the year. They have impressive talent. They underachieved early. They're getting that talent together. They're capable of winning these games. I think they keep it close. There's no way I can back Ohio State with their offense laying this number.
Last year at this time, this is a heck of a game. Now they're kind of playing for scraps, but it's still a pretty good matchup in the Pac-12, and I think it's going to be a well-bet game. We'll talk about that with Jason Simbal in a bit. Arizona at Utah tonight.
Well, I am certainly on one side. This Arizona team, 0-6 straight up in ATS. Their numbers in their last 5 games, they've shot 39%. They have allowed over 50%.
It's not very good.
They don't have talent. They don't have remember all those kids that didn't sign because of the recruiting issues. Yep. Their assistant was suspended. They know they're going to get subpoenaed. This is a team that I'm just going to continue to fade. Yeah, they may win a game here or there because there's still some talent on the starting 5, but this isn't a spot where I can back them. I'm on the Utah side.
And we'll look at a game that normally wouldn't make this.
I love it.
Well, it's an ESPN game. This is a nationally televised game tonight.
And it deserves it.
It is. It's a good matchup in the Ohio Valley between Murray State and Austin Peay. The Governors are having a really good year. But can they win a game that matters? This is a big spotlight game for them. And that's where Murray State has a bit of an advantage, Ralph, because they're a little more used to the big games. And they also look like they might still be the best team in that conference this year. I know Jacksonville State has beaten they've knocked off the top 2. They beat Belmont twice. They beat Murray State. But Jacksonville State has also found a way to lose a couple of games that they shouldn't have lost. I think Murray State steps up here. It didn't make my card, and it's not a strong opinion. But this is a really good game tonight. If there's a game you're going to watch tonight, it really probably should be this one. I think this will be a terrific game.
It's if you don't follow the Ohio Valley, Murray State, Belmont, and Austin Peay are all 10-2.
Yep.
Jacksonville State 9-3. Those are the only 4 teams with a winning record.
Despite the fact that Jacksonville State has the most impressive wins out of the bunch.
Yeah, they lost a couple. Well, again, they're a team that's learning how to win, and they lost some bad games, which happens with the young team. But I agree with you. Can Murray State win on the road? Absolutely. They're 7-3 straight up in ATS away from home. And this is an amazing. Racers are shooting 48.6% on the road. There's only 3 teams in all of basketball shooting 50% or higher on the road. So that shows you the elite-type level they're in. And, from the guide I do on the Wager Talk College Basketball Guide, you look at conference play. Murray State plus 4.7 rebounds in conference play. Austin Peay minus 1.6, a big rebounding edge.
Time to bring in Jason Simbal. We've got a lot to talk about with the main man from CG Sportsbooks right now. Hi, Jason. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you today?
Good. Of course, this is the burning question. Now that Joe Flacco is a member of the Denver Broncos.
Did the odds drop?
Yeah. Did you just readjust everything and make the Broncos the favorite?
Broncos are the favorite now. No, I'm kidding. They are 50-1 with us. They actually opened at 100-1 a while back, but there's a lot of Broncos fans, so they were consistently betting them to win the Super Bowl throughout. So it did open at 100. It's down to 50 now, but the Flacco trade was not the reason for that.
What's your reaction to that signing as far as the Broncos are concerned?
It seems like they're at a point where they probably should do a teardown because you're going to be having to deal with Patrick Mahomes for 10 more years, and this is probably not the best way to equip yourself to do that, but it seems like they don't want to go that route. They want to kind of do a win now, similar to what the Giants are going through, right? It's almost like you just need to take 2 steps back to take 5 steps forward, but they're not doing it when they should be.
Has there been any influx from bettors because of that?
Not a ton of it. I mean, we've actually seen fairly good future action, but the biggest team that we've seen the most bets on, believe it or not, is the Chiefs. There has been over 200 bets on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, which is the only team in that kind of 200 quantity of bet category. So they're by far the most popularly bet team to win the Super Bowl.
We talked a little bit about this in the first couple of days of the week. I think, generally some positive reviews. It wasn't great by any means, but it looked viable at least. Talking about the AAF, pretty decent volume. Quality of play should improve. Is this going to be like a college basketball betting level league?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, last week we saw some numbers that were pretty close to the college hoops game, like not like Duke Virginia level,
Right.
but pretty solid, middle to upper middle tier college hoops game about that level, but a lot of sharp action. The majority of the action on this stuff